Find out what later on.
And we tell you how a brand new playground will benefit infants and toddlers' development.
Later, we have a sit-down interview with a CSU professor and about how he's working to shut down black markets.
All this and more starting right now on CTV News. Good evening, CSU, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Ryan Christ.
And I'm Emma Iannacone. We begin tonight's newscast with an update on the Lory Student Center evacuation. If you were on campus today, you may have noticed students evacuating the Lory Student Center. The cause? Burnt popcorn. Campus police and firefighters arrived on campus after fire alarms went off around 11:45 in the morning. Students were cleared to re-enter the building around noon. Fort Collins police say there was no damage to the building.
The interior design major changed its name to Interior Architecture and Design to better suit what the major prepares students for. This name change has brought about new classes that will get people to think about not only how interior spaces should look and feel, but including the technical structures as well as building systems. This change will also come with a new building when the Richardson Design Center is finished next semester. This new program hopes to gain more enrollment as well as student diversity. While its recent name changes, seniors as well as professors are looking forward to all these changes.
I'm really excited that we get to be a part of it because it's a big change for us that's really beneficial looking ahead into our professional years. We're lucky that we are going to be able to do it. We're kind of squeezing in credits and everyone's kind of rushing to get everything figured out, but it's a really exciting change. Yeah.
I was really excited. I'm coming from a program that was very interdisciplinary, and so this was right in step with what I've always experienced in terms of thinking about spaces. So always this human-centered approach and thinking about how different aspects, whether it's ergonomics or structures or systems or human factors relate to these environments is, I think, critical to how we create those environments. And so this was, I thought, just a great direction and something that I could already see we have started in our program and wanted to just make that clearer to those who are coming into the program, those who are part of it, and the future of it. So, yeah.
A new award promoting study abroad was named after Lauren W. Crabtree, who helped facilitate the relationship between CSU and the Semester at Sea program. This program, now headquartered in Fort Collins, provides CSU academic, administrative, and student recruiting support for the on-ship program. The award is unique to CSU and pays full benefits to the faculty recipient. Crabtree scholars teach 3 undergraduate classes, which include field experience and serve as mentors on board. The fall 2018 Semester at Sea voyage embarks on September 9th.
Fort Collins natives and CSU students will be sad to hear that the oldest IHOP in Fort Collins will be closing its doors permanently this Sunday at 2 in the afternoon. The IHOP, located just east of campus on College Avenue, has been feeding CSU students and residents since 1974. Unfortunately, its closure comes after the inability to reach a new lease agreement. IHOP and Applebee's parents company, Dine Brands Global, announced plans to close over 100 of their total restaurants. The Fort Collins Applebee's closed this spring after 26 years of business. Now, Emma, I know you heard about the whole IHOP, International House of Burgers campaign. I guess clearly that didn't really work out for them up here in Fort Collins.
Yeah, I guess we have too many local burger places. It wasn't a great campaign for us here.
Yeah, do you go to IHOP a lot or no?
No, I typically stick to the local establishments.
Yeah, I agree. It's not the best.
Not the best, definitely. The former Prime Minister of Australia could be coming to speak at CSU in the spring semester, in part because of an ASCSU bill that approved $6,000 in funding for the plans. Julia Gillard was the first female Prime Minister of Australia in 2010 until 2013. The bill passed with a vote of 29-0 with 1 abstention in last night's Senate session. The $6,000 is only 11% of the budget needed for the Office of International Programs to plan the event. For more information about the bill and last night's Senate session, you can visit collegian.com.
Well, good news for students who commute to campus via College Avenue. The summer-long construction on the intersection of College Avenue and Horsetooth is finally finishing up. Construction began on June 18th and is scheduled to reopen completely on Sunday, September 16th. The original opening date was set for Monday, September 10th, but was moved back to allow for less single-lane closures for the remainder of the project.
No childhood is complete without a sandbox, and now Fort Collins children have that and more at the CSU Early Childhood Center. 4 CSU alumni contributed to finance the new development, which opened last month. It allows toddlers and infants a safe place to play outside, which can help with their growth and development. It provides climbing structures, a sandbox, and even a mud kitchen.
If you think about what are your fondest memories of being a child, you were probably at a creek or on a rock or sliding in the snow. So being able to offer that in a group care setting is special.
The Early Childhood Center serves 150 children from the Fort Collins and CSU community. And I have to say, Ryan, I am thoroughly jealous of those kids.
I know, looking at that video, I saw the toys they were playing with. I was looking at the play structures. I had that like hot metal steel slide when I was a kid that just burns the way down.
Yeah.
I didn't get any of this new stuff.
I know, the mud kitchen was my favorite, honestly. I mean, I saw the kids playing with it and making their own mud, and they had different textures, and some of them had a lot more rocks. It looked like they were having a great time there.
Looked like they were having a lot of fun. Thank you for joining us this evening, CSU. Yesterday, I sat down with a CSU professor who was combating illicit supply chains. Stay tuned for that right after the break.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
I'm here with Steve, a professor in the Systems and Mechanical Engineering Department. Thank you so much for joining me, Steve.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about illicit supply chains. So how are you involved with that? And I guess, what are illicit supply chains for people who don't know?
So an illicit supply chain is a supply chain that's running goods that are not legal in the jurisdiction they're at. They could be legal goods that are counterfeited or otherwise fraudulently sold, or they could be ingredients that are not to be sold at all, like illegal drugs or things of that nature. And the distinction between that is a gray market where it's running product that could be legitimate if they were the legitimate purveyors or vendors of it, or it could be something that's just not legal at all. In either case, those two are considered illicit supply chains.
Right, and is a gray market similar to a black market, I assume?
It is. A gray market's sort of like an easier version of a black market where you're selling something that you either stole or you maybe did a product overrun, you ran a third shift, or something that is legal but you're reusing it after its expiry date, whereas a black market is selling something that just shouldn't be sold ever.
And where do we see these illicit supply chains? Is it, of course, a lot in the United States, and like where would they be located?
So illicit supply chains are everywhere, and I've actually verified them occurring several places in the U.S. by going out and buying them when I knew they were in a place I happened to be in. Bought some illegal Colgate or Crest toothpaste in, I think, like the year 2006, for example, when I happened to be in Stamford, Connecticut, where there was an outbreak. They take advantage of ability to sell these to places that basically need their shelves filled. And so it really comes down to an agreement between somebody who has product they want to get rid of and somebody who needs to fill their shelves.
Right. So how did you really get involved with this beforehand? Because you said that you've been working on this for a while now.
Yeah, I've had the fortune of working on this area for about 15 years. I originally got involved in this at HP, where they had a fairly significant knockoff of their ink and other products, like their paper products and all. And so they wanted somebody to come in and figure out, or help figure out, how to actually stop the illicit supply of those in various jurisdictions.
So what type of research goes into trying to solve this issue? Because it's a very large issue and it's very probably hard to solve, I could imagine.
It's a huge issue. One of the things that goes to it is tempering out how the products are sold with the types of measurements you're going to take to stop them. So if the product has a label, if it has packaging, if it has a bill of lading, something that basically the document that goes along with it, those are attack points for you to try to prevent somebody from spoofing that product. If it's something that's all online, then what you do is you run a lot of analytics off of the online sales and check to see if there are anomalies there.
That's very cool. And who else is involved with this kind of research project? I assume it's not just you who's involved trying to fix this problem.
Right. So there are actually 9 agencies around the country that have been awarded this grant out of, I don't know how many hundreds who apply, but there are 9 that are there, and they include other organizations looking for how to describe and then how to interrupt illegal networks. And so this includes everything from looking at it online, looking at the types of things that are sold by a particular brand and where they're being sold. So a lot of analytics are involved, and then also a lot of cyber physical security, looking at both the physical security mechanisms that are tied to the product and then looking at the cyber mechanisms that are there for example, product validation and other things. So there is a lot involved, but it involves, strictly speaking, analytics, sensing, and imaging are usually the ways that people go about this, along with the online analytics.
Right, and you said at HP you kind of started this research. Were you working or building any systems to kind of help with this at HP?
Absolutely. There were a lot of systems built and there were a lot of people involved. It was a hundreds of millions to $1 billion a year type of approach. And so we didn't spend that much, obviously. We spent a much smaller portion from that, but we would get back up to hundreds of millions of dollars of legitimate sales when you remove the counterfeit sales that were going on. So.
Yeah, and so after doing some research of my own, I know that you helped make a counterfeit image detection technology. And what is that, and how did you really develop that?
Yeah, so it was an image-based way of forensically identifying whether or not something was what it claimed to be. And there's at least two major mechanisms. One is where you have a population that has been created by a certain printer or a certain manufacturer, and those will tend to aggregate when you look at hundreds or even thousands of attributes about these images, and those will aggregate on what are real and what are the various counterfeit ones. And then the other one was where you'd actually go all the way down to the forensic level, look at something at 5,000 to 8,000 lines per inch of resolution and say, hey, this is something that can only occur on this countertop. If I actually look at the same countertop over here, it will be noticeably different from that. And so that goes into a lot of math, but the bottom line is that we could actually identify, as long as it had been registered in the manufacturing line, we could identify anything else that had been manufactured and distinguish it from the legitimate one.
Wow. So is that kind of the big, easy, quick solution to this, or is that one of the ways to help we get started?
That's a good question. I mean, it's not, you don't want to actually have to register everything at the forensic level on the packaging line because it'll cost you more. So what you want to do is have the ability to go in and do that at the lot level with at least a few that would be in there that have been registered, and then have a unique identifier on everything that belongs to the lot. And by comparing those two, one at the item level, one at the lot level, you're able to interrupt or at least understand that there was counterfeit going on in your supply chain very quickly. The biggest thing for counterfeiting is not that you can ever prevent it, because some people will buy counterfeit product without ever caring and not ever checking, but it's that you can react to it once it's occurring as quickly as possible for public safety.
Okay, wow. And just kind of circling back, so you're a professor here at CSU. How are you kind of teaching classes and working on this research project at the same time?
So, I mean, we all have to kind of balance what we're doing day to day, and what you try to do is set aside time to make sure that the class you've put together is going to be engaging and of interest to your students, deliver those messages, and then when you're not working on that, try to figure out, you know, what are the types of things that I could be doing here that CSU is uniquely qualified for, and that CSU could be doing research on. And I think both of those are two sides of the same coin. You want your students to be able to understand the material that's in your class, but you also want to give them salient applications for that learning. This is a really good example of having salient applications for what my students are learning in my analytics class.
Well, that's very cool. Well, thank you for joining us, Steve. It was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And up next is Carson Porterfield with this week's weather forecast.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Thursday Weather. I am your sweet little weather boy, Carson Porterfield. We're going to get right into our current conditions. Right now, it is 70 degrees outside with the sun setting in about 20 minutes or so. Get out there, enjoy it while it is. A little bit of cloud, but it should be nice out there. no wind coverage, so it's a beautiful night. Have some fun out there. Going into tonight's lows, it's going to be a pretty nice night all across Colorado, with the lowest being in Telluride at 42 up in the mountains, and the highest going around at 57 at Denver, Burlington, and getting a little higher up in Lamar and Pueblo at 60, and going over to Fort Collins at 55 tonight, going down I-25 to about 54 in Colorado Springs. Going into tomorrow's highs, it's going to be a beautiful day again, with the lowest being in Telluride again at 65, but it getting hot all across, especially in Denver, Fort Collins, and Pueblo, with low 80s and staying at about a consistent mid-70s all across the rest of the state. All right, looking at tomorrow's forecast, it's going to be sunny and moist all day with a beautiful sun out there, so make sure you wear some nice clothes. Don't get too hot out there, with a high of 81 and a low about 53, so it should be pretty nice, nothing too crazy. You should be good out there. Awesome. So as you know, this Saturday we have our game against Arkansas and CSU. It's going to be going on Saturday all day. It's going to be beautiful out with a lot of cloud coverage. It's going to start off the day at about 61, so a little chilly. Maybe wear a nice little overcoat, but you can soon shed that coat as we go throughout the day. And about 5:30 is when kickoff starts, and it's going to be a nice 80 degrees with some cloud coverage, so it shouldn't be getting too hot out there. But make sure you wear some sunscreen and don't get too burned. All right, going into our 5-day forecast, it is going to be beautiful all week. It is sunny all day with 80s all across the board, going into the 90s at about Tuesday and Wednesday, and cooling down just a little bit for that Thursday and Friday, staying about a consistent of 56 for your lows. It's going to be awesome. Hope you enjoy it. That's all I have for you. Up next, we have Jared with sports. Have a great night, Rams.
You are listening to 90.5 KCSU Fort Collins with DJ Meanbeat,
DJ Nightshade, DJ Wildcard. Music to me is one of the best creative outlets that I can think of. An escape from the real world.
Music to me is an expression of love.
To go from like folk to hip hop to like classic rock, 1960s bossa nova. With music, there's like no boundaries.
I work here because I love music, and you do too.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
Welcome back from the break into the Thursday night sports show. I'm Jared Stratton, here to catch you up on CSU athletics. The CSU football team is looking for their first win this weekend against the Arkansas Razorbacks. The Razorbacks are coming off a 55-20 win against Eastern Illinois for their only game of the season. The game will highlight Olabisi Johnson's efforts to make the Senior Bowl game, as well as a possible quarterback controversy. During the Rocky Mountain Showdown, CSU backup quarterback Colin Hill went in for a full drive. After the game, head coach Mike Bobo was asked about Colin Hill's future and the quarterback situation.
No, he got all the reps with the twos this week, and did a good job. Have not decided, what the situation will be with quarterback yet. We still have 2 more days of practice before Saturday, but I'd like to get him in, but we're gonna play the game. Could be set, be honest, and it might not be set, but not really gonna tell you or anybody else what's gonna happen. But I know you're gonna ask the question, and he's doing good and he's cleared. But again, at the same time, we're 5.5 months out.
There will be a Ram rally for the game this Friday in Old Town Square at 7 p.m. That will include live bands, the CSU Pep Band, and an address from CSU Athletic Director Joe Parker. The game will start at 5:30 this Saturday. The CSU women's tennis team has officially hired Scott Langs as an assistant coach. Langs has helped build numerous tennis programs in northern Colorado and coached on all levels. He also has experience at the tennis international level and played it professionally. He joined CSU as volunteer assistant for the tennis team in 2013 and was promoted by head coach Jared Camarada. When asked about the promotion, Jared Camarada responded, "He's been with the program longer than I have. He was my top choice, and I'm looking forward to having him, and he should really help the program." The tennis team will begin its season at the Milwaukee Tennis Classic on September 20th. The CSU men's golf team will be honoring former CSU golfer and U.S. Army veteran James Jerry Jackson with a memorial golf bag. Jackson served in the Vietnam War and eventually died from exposure to the Agent Orange chemical. There has been a scholarship named in his honor for CSU student athletes. CSU's top finisher Jake Stiano will be carrying the bag to start the season tomorrow at the Carpet Capital Collegiate. Well, that's all the sports I have for today, but make sure to check CTV Twitter and CTV Channel 11 on YouTube for the latest in CSU athletics. I'm Jared Stroud, and up next is Colin Sanders talking about fun things to do in Fort Collins.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Welcome back, Rams. I'm Colin Sanders with all the latest fun going on in Fort Collins. Old Town Fort Collins has just got a new splash of paint with fun murals showing bright animals, colorful people, and abstract designs. The artist Lindy Zimmer, who is a part of the Fort Collins Mural Project, started her murals on the outside of Alley Cat Coffee House, located just outside of West Laurel Street. The Fort Collins Mural Project is looking for blank walls all across Fort Collins so that their wide variety of artists can use their different creative styles. Since the mural project started, they have created 12 different murals across Fort Collins, with the murals popping up everywhere. It's creating a more beautiful and unique Fort Collins. With the start of the new school year, the UCA is starting to fill up with all sorts of different shows, concerts, and plays, ranging from the end of this month to the end of the semester in mid-December. The future events include the University Symphony Orchestra's 10th annual concert, the Laramie Project, the Fall Choral Showcase Concert, the Fall Dance Concert, and Big Love. The shows consist of dance recitals, improv shows, plays, and instrumental concerts. These shows will all be located in different theaters inside the UCA, which is located on 1500 Remington Street. For more information on the events, go to collegian.com or go to CSU events calendar to find specific dates and times as well as show costs. All right, Rams, it's time for you to get out and explore downtown Fort Collins. This fall starts with the Ram Roundup Scavenger Hunt, going on from September 7th to November 16th. If you find hidden cam Ram dolls scattered around in one of 25 different downtown businesses, you have a 1 in 4 chance at a $100 gift card. All you have to do is collect your Ram Roundup card from any of the participating businesses to be part of the fun. For more information, check out downtownfortcollins.com/event/roundup. If street food, dogs, and live music sounds like a fun time for you, then check out the FOCO Food Truck Rally. This past Tuesday, City Park had their weekly FOCO Food Truck Rally from 5:30 till dark. This event is full of live music and a variety of street food.
Yeah, we love this event. It's a good time. You've got some great bands out here. You get to try some other great foods. There's 18 other trucks, so there's a lot of variety. So you can get your fix for whatever you need.
The FOCO Food Truck Rally is the place to be with your family, friends, and dogs.
We were invited to come play for this event. It's a really great community event with a food truck rally. You can see there's kids playing and dogs playing and people lounging and eating food, and it's just a really cool way of bringing people together in our community. So we were really honored to be invited to play this. Anyone can come, everyone is welcome, and everyone can be part of this together.
With the sun setting on this week's food truck rally, people I'm sure will be back for the rest of them every Tuesday from 5:30 to sundown for the rest of September. The food truck rally will be held in City Park every Tuesday from 5:30 till dark for the rest of September, so make sure you check it out before it's too late. The Black African American Cultural Center, one of CSU's many cultural organizations, is providing a way for students to talk about the many different challenges and opportunities they face through a platform called Real Talk. Real Talk is a weekly social event that spends time talking about serious and controversial topics. The platform is designed to help students feel comfortable and find a place that they can share their voice and opinions. Real Talk is run by students involved in BAACC to help connections with students on a peer-to-peer level. Real Talk happens every Thursday night from 5 to 6 in the Lory Student Center, room 335. Thank you so much for tuning in, Rams. I'm Colin Sanders, and have an amazing rest of your night.